Hello children, so today I will discuss a new topic for you, and obviously that is from chapter 5. The name of the chapter is Alternative Ideas and Initiatives, and the name of the topics that I'm just going to discuss with all of you today are as follows. Number 1, this will be relation between the printed text and dissemination of knowledge. Number 2, I will discuss with this point also, that is press as a commercial venture. And number 3, this will be initiatives taken by UPENDRAKISHOR, CHOUDHURY and the U.RAY and Sons. So let's begin. Children, last day in my last video, I had discussed and I had told you that why has a name of chapter number 5, Alternative Ideas and Initiatives, been given. Now in this video also, I'm just gonna repeat the same question to you, as because this question is very important to understand this chapter, to understand the following topics that are given in this chapter. You must know that why has a name been given. Relation means the alternative ideas and initiatives. In this phase, with the beginning of the 19th century, the Indians, they wanted to just exile themselves. They wanted to just explore something new. They wanted to just show all the world that they were not illiterate. We know, children, that every time the British and their administrators, they had humiliated, they had exploited, they had extorted. Most importantly, they had underestimated us, that we are foolish. We could be just compared with dogs and fierce animals. We did not have such kind of prestige. We did not have such kind of past glory, and etc, etc, etc. So that's why now in this phase we will see that the Indians, now they will show that they were not illiterate, they were not unlettered, they were not uneducated. They could do something better than that of the British. So that's why, as because the Indians, they had just started to show, that started to just reveal the facts, not only to the British, to the every country, to the every nation, to the every part of the world, that they could do something better apart from the British initiatives and their alternatives. So that's why the name is very much important. The name is appropriately given over here. Now on that point of basis, I'm just going to discuss the point from page number 72, and the name of the topic is relation between the printed text and dissemination of knowledge. Printed text and dissemination of knowledge. As in, I have earlier told you that Indians were not illiterate. It means at the time few peoples were there, they were very much educated. In our caste system, when it became too much rigid at the later Vedic period, since that time, no chance was provided, no chance was given to take the education from the educational field, to sit just beside the Kshatriyas, beside the Brahmins, and they could just gain the knowledge. Who were they? They were the most downtrodden class of the society. Obviously, they were the fourth class peoples, mean the fourth caste people, and they were Shudras. So I'm talking about the middle class peoples of the 19th century. With the beginning of the 19th century, the peoples, the middle class peoples or the educated Bhadralok, they wanted to just quench their thirst on the educational purposes. They could just hardly purchase the books from the nearby markets, but that could be very much expensive for them to bear. Why so? As because all those books were handwritten, all those books were very much expensive and costly. So it could not have been possible for all the Indians, especially the educated middle class people, to just quench their thirst on education. So that's why they needed more and more books, and obviously the printed books. And that just gave a fatal blow to just establish different kinds of printing presses inside our country. As I have already just mentioned you that it was in the year of 1557, for the first time, the Portuguese, they had just set up the printing press in Goa during that time. So in Goa, when the first printing press was set up in India by the Portuguese Jesuits, our state, West Bengal, obviously the city, Calcutta, during that time, it was outside the purview of this kind of printing technology. But the Indians, as well as the all middle class peoples, they were very much enthusiastic. They become very much enthusiastic to just learn more and more. So how could they just quench their thirst? That was the biggest problem during that time. They were not confined in their own room. They just come out from their own room. They were trying to do something means better, something extraordinary, something different from the British East India Company, so that they could just quench their thirst. And for that reason, different books are published from different times. Especially the first boost up, the first important work that was done by the British government or the English East India Company, the foundation of the Srirampur Baptist Mission. The Srirampur Baptist Mission that was founded, that was set up in the year of 1800. That was a massive means a revolution for the printing case and the printing revolution. The era was started exactly since the 1800 areas, because the Srirampur Baptist Mission Press was founded, and the founder members of the Srirampur Baptist Mission, they are as follows. They are also known as Srirampur Trio. I'm just going to tell their names. I know children that you know all the names that who were associated with the Srirampur Baptist Mission. Those who were also called the Srirampur Trio, and they are as follows. Number 1, William Carey, William Ward, and J.C. Marshman. I'm just going to repeat one more time the names for your betterment. That is William Ward, William Carey, and J.C. Marshman. Now let's talk about J.C. Marshman. Who was he? J.C. Marshman, under his initiative, for the first time in India, the Bengali periodical was published, and obviously that was Samachar Darpan in the year of 1818. So in the year of 1818, under the initiative taken by J.C. Marshman, the son of Joshua Marshman, he had taken the initiative to just formulate, to just print a new Bengali weekly, and that became obviously Samachar Darpan. So this was a massive scale revolution in the printing press, and the common peoples and the middle class peoples, they could just quench their thirst by reading different type of presses from different type of newspapers, magazines and journals during that time. In the magazines, in the journals, different topics were discussed. It could be the political, it could be the social, it could be the socio-political, economic, everything that was just written over there. And the common peoples, they could easily just relate from there, as because Bengali was a vernacular language. Bengali was their mother tongue. So it could be very much convenient for them to just learn, to just know that what was going on inside the country and inside our state. That was very interesting. Okay, the next thing I'm just going to tell you, that the initiative that was taken by one of the famous prolific writers and the authors of India, and most importantly of Bengal, he was Ishwar Chandra Bandyopadhyay, Ishwar Chandra Vidyasagar. He, for the first time, to just provoke the Bengali language amongst all the Indian peoples in a very easiest way, he had just issued a book, he had just published a book, and that came to be known as Varna Parichay, that was first published in the year of 1855. The book was published in the year of 1855, Varna Parichay. And I think that there are hardly, I can just find out any students who has not just read about the Varna Parichay. The book had have an immense importance in our lives at our earlier age, at our childhood. The next thing is that in the year of 1800, the Baptist mission was founded in Srirampur. I have already discussed about that what was the importance in founding the Srirampur Baptist mission, and how did the Srirampur Baptist mission and their missionaries, they had just worked for a long period of time to just spread out the knowledge. During that time, the books and the magazines and the journals were not printed only on the political issues or the economical issues. It was, however, it was also just created, the idea was also created, the sense was also created on the basis of the religious perspective too. I want to say that different books and different holy scriptures, different sacred books were just written in different languages, translated into different languages. Just for instance, I'm saying that William Carey, he had just come from Britain, but he was having an absolute knowledge about the Bengali language, and that's why he was a teacher of the Bengali language. Though from the name we can just predict that he will be obviously a teacher of English. If the question comes in a question paper that who was William Carey, if the MCQ type of question comes in a question paper that William Carey was a teacher of, and the options are Bengali, Hindi, Urdu and English. Most of you will just give the answer will be English. No, actually the answer is he was a teacher of Bengali. And children, you will be surprised to know it that he for the first time had translated the sacred text of the Christian religion, obviously that is Bible, into Bengali. So Bible was translated into Bengali by William Carey during that time. This was one of the most important features of the printing press revolution in India, even in Bengal. Number 2, how can I just forget to tell about the importance of the foundation of Calcutta Fort William College. The Calcutta Fort William College of 1800 AD, founded by the Governor General of India, or the Viceroy of India during that time, Lord Wellesley. Fort William College was founded to just promote the education, the native education in a vernacular language to all the young civilians. The civilians, those who were related with the civil activities or the civil administration in India, those who were just given the responsibility to administer, to just govern our state, our country, they had to just pass the civil service examination, Indian civil service examination, and when they came to India, they had to just take the training from the Fort William College. So Fort William College became the foremost and the most important center for all the trainees during that time, and they could just learn the Indian language. Different aspects, means different things were discussed, different subjects were discussed during that time. They could just learn like Bengali, Parsi, Hindi, and all these things. Actually, the main intention of the Fort William College, for the foundation of the Fort William College, to promote all the civilians, especially the young civilians, to just know about the Indian Indian culture, the Indian sculptures, the Indian architecture, everything. It means if I don't know you, if I don't have any knowledge regarding any particular mass of people, how can I just dominate them? So that's why Fort William College was established in the year of 1800 by Lord Wellesley. Okay, how the publication of Bengali periodicals and newspapers helped dissemination of knowledge may be understood from the comment made in the Oriental Star. It was on 16th of May 1818 on the question of the appearance of Bengali periodical Bengal Gazette or Bengal Gazette. Obviously Bengal Gazette or Bengal Gazette, that was edited since 1818 by Gangakishor Bhattacharya. I told one another name, alias Gangadhar Bhattacharya. He was affectionately also called Gangakishor Bhattacharya or Gangadhar Bhattacharya. Both the same person, don't just get confused. The printing press helped the spread of education. The middle class of towns who were being educated needed to help the study materials. So study materials were very essential. Suppose you're just reading this textbook, and what is the name of the textbook? History and Environment, written by CHOUDHURY. You cannot just find out everything from your book. So for that reason, so many books have been just referred to you for the betterment, for making important notes and exclusive notes on different topics. For that reason, I have just suggested you 6 different books. Now you children, you just imagine that if it could not have been possible for you to just find out the books from the nearby market, if it was very much costly, suppose one book means the cost of the one book, suppose it was 1,50,000, was it possible for all of you to just purchase the books from the market? No. So that's why availability of the books at a very cheaper price, it also helps a lot in promoting the education. So for that reason, when the books were just published from the different presses, that helped and that created one of the most important features in the society. The society was very much benefited by just getting all these books. What has happened before is because the books were just handwritten, that could not be just easily available in the market. Suppose I'm just looking forward for a book from the nearby market and it was not available. So how could I just quench my thirst in education? Just imagine, that was very difficult now. And after a very hard toil, a person could just write a book, only 2 books in a year. A person could just write 2 books in a year, and that was very much costly, very much expensive. No common peoples could just afford that. That was very important problem. That was very much prominent problem during that time. So to eradicate all these things, when the printing press had started to just print all the important books, and at the same time in a particular day, the number of books were just illustrated, number of books were published, and the book lovers, they could just easily go over there to their nearby markets to just quench their own thirst and to just read it out. This was the second most important feature of the printing text and the printed machine. This was the dissemination of knowledge. Now children, I had promised you that today I will tell you the 3 different methods of printing that became very much prominent and important during the mid of the 19th century. The first one was linotype. The second one I told about the monotype, and number 3, that was a most and the modern type of printing that was created, that was just brought forward to our country, even in the South Asian continent, in the South Asian countries also, he was Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury. So one by one, I'm just going to discuss and to reveal about what was the monotype printing. I will also tell about the linotype printing, as well as I will discuss about the last one, the modern block making printing. Now let me tell you what is the monotype printing. Monotype printing was a kind of printing that was just used for printing something, a particular paper. Now you just consider that this is a paper. This is a paper. This is obviously this should be a very much blank paper. It should be a white paper. A white paper. It should be just kept with you, and it was just put on a particular table. On a particular table, a machine was there, and the machine was constituted with a motor. A motor was not very much complex. The motor, as usual, we can see in the motors, means in our fans, in our everywhere we can just see the motor. So what has happened, the motor, it was just revolving one after another, and some equipment and something that was just printed on a plate. It could be on the metal plate, it could be, perhaps it was a glass. Glass means kach. I'm just going to mention about the kach. So when it was just printed on a plate or on a glass, something means important drawings were done over there, and if it was just means put, so you have to just draw something, you have to just write something. Most importantly, at the time, drawing was very much prominent. So if you have just written anything, if you have just drawn something on that particular paper, I'm just going to show that how did it work. Suppose this was the plate, this was the plate, and here you have just prescribed, you have just written, you have just drawn something. It was drawn with different type of colors, and this was obviously, it will be just kept on a particular table, and over that, over the means that particular picture or that particular colored picture, this white sheet should be just given, and whenever that will be pressed in a long way, that will be just pressed very hard. After that, it will be coming in this way, and finally you will just get this page be printed. So this was the monotype printing, and that was very famous during that time, when the printing technology was gradually just increased. Gradually it was not deteriorated, instead it was just increased during that time. What has happened during that time, linotype printing became very much important. Linotype printing was invented in the year of 1866. Linotype printing was invented, it was in the year of 1866. And what has happened in the linotype printing? Linotype printing was a such type of printing where different metals were just used, and under these metals, suppose this is a metal, and here you can just write, you can just type anything. Means the different letters were just given, and it was the length was, it was maximum 5 inches long, just like a scale, and under that particular metal, few words, alphabets, and something that was just written in English language, and a typewriter was there, and the typewriter who could just write, who could just type so fast, so smoothly, a person was appointed over there, and he could just type it. This is also called the shorthand. Now you cannot get it, as because this is the era of the computer. So previously the shorthand was there. So if you have to just type something over there, and that will be just printed in a different way. That will just put, means that particular metal, that will be just heated up at, it was 500 degrees Celsius temperature. The temperature of that particular metal, it will be 500 degree Celsius temperature, and a few means under this, the ink will be just injected over there, and when the type, it will be just done, after the completion of one type, it will just put an impression. It will just put an impression over the particular paper, and it will just come out, a printed page will be come out, will just come out from there. You can see that it has been just printed. This was called the linotype printing. And number 3, that was, I told, the block making. The father of the block making printing in India, especially in South Asia, that he was Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, alias Upendrakishor Choudhury. Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, he was the son-in-law of Dwarkanath Ganguly. He was the son of the famous filmmaker and the director, obviously Satyajit Ray, and he was the father of the famous prolific writer Sukumar Ray. So this was the family background of Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury. Before Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, Babu Ram, he for the first time sought to think that the print should be just come out in the commercial venture. The printing technology should be just come out, and it should be just relatable, it should be just related with the commercial venture for the first time. He was followed by Gangakishore Bhattacharya, or the Gangadhar Bhattacharya, of the prolific writer during that time. So Baburam, he for the first time, he had taken the help from the British East India Company and the administration. He wanted to just serve for the Indians. For that reason, he became quite enthusiastic, as well as he wanted to just he for the first time sought to think that by implementing this kind of printing technology in India, wealth can be just acquired. So this was for the first time. So later it came Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, and Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, somehow he found that the most important writing, Chelader Ramayan, he found that the writing and all these things were very much poor at the time. So that's why he wanted to just increase the level of this kind of printing, and he became quite enthusiastic. And for that reason, what did he do? You know, children, at the time he went for he wanted to just learn the technology, how could the block making printing technology work. So for that reason, he went to England. Not only he just learned the technology, how was it used, apart from that, he also had learned that he also had just purchased the important tools and the implements from there. And finally, when he just came back to India, he became successful to just create this kind of printing technology. So the printing technology means the block making printing technology. The block printing is very famous. If you want to just see the picture of the block printing or the block making, just go to the Google. You just search it out, the block printing examples, or the images or pictures of the block printing. Google will show you. Okay, so it was in the year of 1895 when for the first time he just started to just monopolizing the business over the block printing or the modern block making printing in India. At the time, he was not having any printing press with him. He was not the owner of the printing press, but finally, within a very short span of time, in the year of 1913, he became successful to just set up a printing machine. He had to since 1895, 1885, he had to just depend upon others for printing different kinds of things, different kinds of papers. But since 1913, he had just introduced different he had just set up or established his own printing machine over there. From there, the printing books could be just it could be just circulated, it could be just published in a different way. That became quite interesting. So Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, and he had just set up his industries over there, and finally it was just renamed like Upendrakishor Roy and Sons, U.RAY and Sons. The name of the company was there, and finally it was a massive blow. It was a massive technology that was introduced by Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury. Being an Indian, we should just feel very proud for that. Not only the Indians, the peoples of the South Asia, they are very grateful to this person, as because Upendrakishor Roy Choudhury, he was the pioneer. He was the man. He for the first time just introduced the block making printing in our country. So today, after this, children, bye.